Today, our guest is an accomplished writer and pastor whose works have taken him around the world and to homes of believers everywhere. He's a wonderful fisherman, golfer.
No. Fisher of men.
All right. He's a great dad. His name is Robert Anthony Schuller. Let's give him a hand. Hi. How you doing? So we had you here a couple weeks ago, and it was so great to just have you in the house. Of course, if you don't know, maybe if you're new to the church, this is my dad, and he's the former pastor of this church. He served, almost his whole life. Even when you were at Rancho Capistrano, you were still serving at Crystal Cathedral, and then served for several years as the senior pastor.
Yeah, I started preaching 5 years before you were born.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, growing up a pastor's kid, you learn good sermons and bad sermons. You learn both.
This
and
is
it was
true.
It was good to learn from you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, Dad, it's such an honor to have you here. You were such a tremendous leader of this church. You brought Crystal Cathedral Hour of Power to all new levels. You had so many wonderful initiatives and were a gifted leader. And it's been a while since you've been here, and I thought it would just be good to just talk to you and hear your story and what's going on. And particularly today, we're talking about stress and anxiety. And
we are.
I know that you've had your share of stresses in life, and maybe we should start with how stressful are kids on the life of a parent?
It depends on which ones they are. Are you referring to yourself?
I am. Anyway. So anyway, I really thought it would be good to talk about this. Stress is something that all of us experience, and you've gone through a lot, even recently and even before that. You've gone through a lot in your life, and I think a lot of times people look at you and they say, well, you grew up in this, well-known family, and you had a lot of opportunity in your life, or your life must be easy. And it hasn't been easy. You've had a lot of challenges.
Well, the biggest challenge for me was, first of all, getting into ministry, because they didn't call it, in the 70s, they didn't call things a reading disorder. But I definitely had a reading disorder to the point where I could not, when I graduated from high school, I could not read a paragraph and tell you what I read.
Yeah.
I could read the words, but there was zero comprehension after I'd read those words. And so I figured out a way to get into college anyway, figured out how to get through the system without learning how to read. And I actually entered college as a music major. Can you believe that?
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I figured that way I wouldn't have to do so much reading in college. Seriously.
You know what's funny is I could see Mark Riley behind you, our music conductor, and when you said I got a music degree, he clapped, and then we said I didn't have to read, he rolled his eyes and
didn't have to read. But I also knew that I needed that degree in order to get to seminary, because I could get into seminary with any college degree as long as I had a college degree, right?
Yeah.
And a halfway decent GPA. So I said, okay, I'll just get my degree in music and I'll deal with my seminary stuff when I get there. So I decided I was going to try and knock off one of the big issues for me, which was foreign languages, because I knew in seminary I had to have proficiency in Greek and Hebrew. So I started taking Greek right away to take care of my requirements in college, but at the same time take care of my requirements in seminary. So while I was studying Greek, the scales came off my eyes, a miracle from heaven, call it whatever you want, the reading disorder disappeared, but I learned to read, and then I changed my major from music to ancient civilization, because it was the only thing I could graduate in 4 years, because of all my music courses that I'd taken.
But it's so awesome, though, that you still were able to do an amazing job as a pastor. You've been so prolific. You've written, 12 books, something like that?
17.
17, yeah. You had it. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I've read them all. I just couldn't.
Yes, that's right.
But I think that's a word of hope. That I think it's a lot of times people assume that life is not easy for anybody. Everybody's life is hard, and it doesn't matter how successful, how rich, how great it looks on the outside. People go through stuff.
Well, it was extremely stressful when I was the senior pastor of the Crystal Cathedral, because what I had been handed was a very challenging thing to deal with.
Yeah.
First dealing with all the family members, then dealing with the finances, because there was 2 huge projects that my father had to finish before he could let me be the senior pastor, and that then just was extremely difficult. And trying to deal with the financial pressures, the family pressures, and everything else was just, you talk about stress, it was extremely stressful.
Yeah.
But the fact is that God's in control.
Yeah.
And he knew where this would be today, and that you would be here, and that this congregation would come through all this and be the congregation you are today. God knew it the whole time. It was all his plans. And it's a beautiful, beautiful testimony. Meanwhile, God has led me in different ways and in different directions. And one of the things that I'm really excited about, that I'm very much involved in right now, is addressing 2 big issues that our society is dealing with. Yep. And one of the biggest issues that our society is dealing with right now is the opioid abuse that is spread rampant across this country.
Yeah.
It is now the #1 cause of death from overdose.
Yeah.
Higher than car accidents.
Yeah.
Are people who are dying of opioid abuse.
And
that could be both prescription, and then from prescription, people land up going straight to heroin. In fact, 80% of all the new heroin users started with prescription drugs.
Yeah, wow.
And if you take the normal dose that the normal doctor gives you for an opioid for pain relief, which is usually 10 days to 2 weeks, by that time you are already addicted.
Yeah. So you guys have a
thing.
ministry where you're helping. I mean, like, you're doing recovery. You've done recovery, like, as long as I've known you guys, this has been something you've been passionate about. But this is like something you've really taken on now.
Well, yeah, because it's reached new heights.
Yeah.
And it's a horrible thing. So I started a website called SchullerHelp.org,
okay,
or SchullerHelp.com. People can go there. And if you know of anybody who is addicted to heroin or drugs or prescription medicines, have them call me. You can find the number there on the website. Call me, and chances are we can help. People have lots of excuses why they can't find help. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough insurance. I don't have this. I don't have that. Call me. Please call me. There's probably a way that I can help you. If you want to get off drugs and alcohol, I can probably help you get into a recovery center.
You guys also have this thing called The Call. So, like, anybody can do it. You do it, I think, on the 15th of every month. It's so great because it's like hundreds of people call in on this line, but it's like you're on a big phone call, and it's really a great experience. So I want to encourage everybody.
You've been my guest.
I have
times.
more than once. Yeah, it's been great. I'll do it again. It was nice. So I mean, there's many ways that people can keep up with what you and Donna are doing in recovery ministry, Robert Schuller Ministries, and The Call, and other things. You guys are doing amazing things. It's always great to see you around here too, praying and worshiping with us. And through all the challenges that you've gone in your life, that you've experienced, you've definitely been a living reminder of God's power to continue to work in the midst of trial. I mean, as you know, there's millions of people listening around the world, but if you had just maybe one thing that you would say to them, what would you say?
Never lose hope. You know, there's always a tomorrow. The sun will come up tomorrow, and it will set in the evening. It will do that until Christ comes back. And so hold on to the hope that God loves you, that God cares for you, that no matter what you're facing, that if you hang in there, you will get through it.
That's a great word. I just want to say, too, that this is such a great man. My dad was such a terrific father, not only to me, but all 4 of his kids. As a pastor, I've learned the importance of always putting my wife and my kids first. So even recently, they were interviewing me about memories I had, and I was like, I could go all day long, from planes to fishing to Disneyland to school to report cards to just the ways that you guys were so involved in our lives. You always made us the priority. And a lot of people ask the question, did you feel pressured to be a pastor? And the answer is absolutely not. If anything,
I
it's
know
the
that.
opposite.
Exactly.
Never once was like, be a pastor, go into ministry. It was do what
Now,
you want to do.
wait a minute. Your grandfather pressured you all the time.
He did do that, that's true. I did not get it the way you got it, which is pretty intense. No, but you know, when you get it from a grandpa, it doesn't feel like pressure. It's like fat grandpa telling you what to do. It's very different than dad, you know, because when dad does it, it's,
You feel like you're obligated or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
But
But you didn't do that to us, and we really love you and appreciate you for that, and I love you. Thanks,
thank
Dad.
you. I love you too.
Love you, and thank you for being here, and it's always awesome to have you in the house, Dr. Schuller. We love you.